So over the weekend, um, my mom and dad, no, just my mom, my brother and I, and my brother's girlfriend, we're gonna go visit my cousin, my mom's niece, I believe, because she just had a baby, right? So we decided to stop at my aunt's house first, and then after my aunt house, we usually go to my cousin, which is my aunt and my mom's niece. So we usually do that, but we didn't do that because we went to my aunt's house and we kind of got stuck there. And something bizarre happened. It was so weird. So, my mom told me, oh hey, they tied up your cousin. I was like, what? And I was like, why did they tie her up? I was like, because she told me, oh, because she was acting crazy. And I'm like, okay. I was kind of confused. And then I was like, what? I didn't understand anything. I was like, why would they tie her up? And my cousin's around 20 years old. Yeah, so I think she's 20. So we go there, it's like an hour away, 30 minutes away. It's an hour away to get to their house. And, we get there and I say hi to my aunt. I say hi to my little cousins. They're like, hey, they're like, we miss you. I was like, okay, it seems normal. And my cousin, I have another cousin, he was sleeping, and I've talked about him in my other videos, where like he was going through anxiety, and anyways, he ended up he ended up going to jail. I don't know what's going on. He ended up going to jail. He got house arrest. He's okay now. I think he seems normal now. He seems relaxed. Maybe I don't know. Like he was having that. They say you start to develop like really strong mental disorder at age 19. Like for men and female, it varies. But I know that for men, it's like 19 to 21. That's when you really start to develop a mental illness, and especially if it runs in your family, that's when you have to really be careful. So I was like, okay, So like he recently got out of jail. I mean, out of house arrest. He's okay now, and then like I was like, oh, where's my other cousin? I wanted, and then the next thing like she's in the bed, and she's like, she doesn't have any clothes on. Well, she has a bra, but she doesn't really have any clothes on. And I told her, oh hey, how are you? As like she started acting. Started acting weird, and she told me she wasn't good, like that they tied her up, and that they 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 took all her clothes. Her parents took off all her clothes off, and then they tied her up, and then they don't feed her. I was like, and she was like, my parents don't feed me. I was like, what? And she's very skinny, and I don't know. I was like, what the fuck is going on? She had bruises. I'm like, whoa, like she was just laying down like this. She had a lot of bruises, on her hands. They tied her up. Like, that's crazy. Her parents tied her up. Like, what the hell's going on? So I told her, oh, like, you should. I was like, oh. I told her, oh, okay. I was like, I don't know what to say. I was scared. I was like, what? And then, like, I was like, you want anything to drink? I told her, what do you want? And then she's like, those aren't my parents. I'm like, okay. I was gonna tell her, yes, they're your parents. You look like them. But I was like, no, I'm just gonna shut up. I'm not gonna say anything. So then my little cousin comes next to me and next to us, and I'm like, hey, what's wrong with her? She's like, oh, I don't know. She's just like that. And I was looking at her, and I was looking at my little cousins, and I was like, wow, there's a big difference. You see healthy children versus a non-healthy young adult. And my cousin, I think she's 21 now. I think she just turned 21. She was acting bizarre, and she was like stressed out. I don't know. But like I talked to her like I talked to her not that long ago, like maybe in December, January, because her family didn't come over to the funeral when we did my brother the ceremony, like where the priest gives a speech. My aunt didn't come. She was sick, and they didn't come, none of them. And my cousin, my brother picked up my cousin because she didn't know where she was. So she picked her up, and I was like, "Oh, hey, how are you?" So I saw my cousin like a couple of months ago, and I was like, "Hey, how are you?" She's like, "I'm okay." She was telling me why my brother killed himself. I was like, and then she was telling me that she was sad. Sometimes she doesn't know where she is. I'm like, "What?" I was like, "I don't know." I was like, "Okay," I was like, I was told her, "You need help. Want me to get you help? I could help you." He was like, I told her, "You need to see a therapist." Like, "Do you want me to help you find a therapist?" She's like, "No." And then like when she stayed with us, and like she was doing cocaine, she was smoking it. Or I don't know. I think it was cocaine or crystal meth. Yeah, I'm not sure. What's the difference? I keep forgetting. But she was doing crystal meth, and she was smoking it. Yeah, so she was like, I don't know. It's so weird because like her brother was doing crystal meth, and she told me, "My brother is stupid for doing crystal meth. Like, you don't do that. You shouldn't do, like, just stick to weed." But then she started sticking to crystal meth. She was like, she told me she would never do that, and she's like, she was just into weed, and she went into crystal meth. I'm not saying crystal meth is to blame for this, but she was just acting bizarre. Even before that, you know what I mean? For anyone that doesn't know, like, before she started doing drugs, she was acting weird. Like, she had, like, body issues. Like, she was kind of overweight. Now she's, like, freaking underweight. She's underweight, so she needs to gain weight. And, yeah, it's just so crazy because, actually, when did I even saw her way before that. Actually, no, like, even before she started doing crystal meth, she was actually hospitalized, because in 2014, like, I went on vacation with my aunt and her family, and they were trying to take my cousin. They were trying to take her too, but she said no. So then it was like 2013, we went on a vacation in 2013, we came back in 2014, like around February 2014, and they locked her up in the crazy house, the psychiatric ward. They locked her up, and if you're locked up, you can't get out unless without a parent being there, and parent taking full responsibility of the crazy person, right? So my parents, my uncle and aunt went and took her out, and they let her do her thing. And what I just mentioned was, she came to visit us that one time because she was lost, and my brother picked her up, and she was there at my house, like, just sad, also because my brother passed or whatever. And yeah, like, after that's the last time I heard of her. And then, like, so that was like maybe like 6 months, like maybe 5 months ago, I talked to her. And then, like, recently, it was like the way she is now is like, I don't know, it's like I mean, so yeah, it's like, so my uncle and aunt, they don't know how to handle mental illness, they just don't, and they don't know what to do. And I'm not really sure because, I didn't want to get involved in it because, I don't know the whole story. But anyways, I mean, they tied her up, which is like abuse, you know what I mean? If the police comes or whatever, or she dies, you tied her up and she's died, you tie her up too much and she dies. Guess what? They're gonna blame it on you. But they don't. My aunts and uncle don't understand that. They don't understand that they're doing. They don't understand that they're dealing with a person with a mental disorder. You know, they just don't understand that my cousin might have a mental disorder. Honestly, I do not know if she has a mental disorder. You know, but it's, you know, she's still at that age where like where, you know, you could develop a mental disorder if it runs in your family. You have high chances of developing a mental disorder. And you know, I told my mom, I told them, I was like, look, she's talking to herself, she's talking, saying all this random stuff. Like my uncle, I told her, I told my mom, look, she needs help. She's like my uncle. I told her, and then they were telling me, and I told my mom, well, when did my uncle develop a mental disorder? And then my mom was like, oh, when he was 25 years old, he studied too hard and he went crazy. I'm like, you can't go crazy. Actually, you can go crazy for studying too hard, but I'm telling you that that's not really true. I told her it's genetics, you know what I mean? So it's something wrong, you know. So I told my mom, like, it's something genetics and she needs help because, you know, my uncle gets help. You know, it doesn't matter. You know, my uncle is not, you know, my uncle doesn't try to say, like, okay, my cousin says she wants to stab people. She was telling me, I'm gonna stab that fool. I'm gonna kill myself. I'm gonna kill myself tomorrow. Like, she didn't say tomorrow. She's like, I'm gonna kill myself. I'm ready to kill myself. I'm gonna stab myself. I'm gonna kill people. I was like, oh shit, what's going on? And I was like, oh man. So I was like, and you know, like, my uncle is not like that. My uncle has visions where he sees like this and that, and like he starts talking about it. My uncle's like, oh, the war is happening. So it's like, oh, I told my mom, you know, it's probably like some type of schizophrenic like my uncle, so like she needs help. And I was like, you know, I just, it's stressful. It's so stressful thinking about it because it's like, okay, you know, I don't want to get involved because, you know, they have like 3 little girls, and you know, I don't want to, you know, they could get in trouble with that, you know. I told them, oh well, why don't you call the police to take them to the hospital? And what they're worried about is that, you know, the police doesn't know how to handle people with mental disorders, because a lot of times, you know, sometimes a person with a mental disorder becomes violent, and they might actually end up killing them. And you know, that's the problem there with the U.S. police system versus, you know, how they treat people with mental disorders. They don't know that people with mental disorders are violent, that they're crazy, etc., etc. I know those aren't the right terms, but I'm just describing it as them. You know, you don't know what to expect with a person with a mental disorder that's going through a crisis. You don't know what to expect. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, you when you're going to a house with a mental, that's someone there, and there is a mental illness. You know, like, how do I say it? Like, don't expect for them to go like that, like, oh hey, you know, take me to the hospital. You know what I mean? There's gonna be violence, and a lot of police aren't prepared for that. You know, a lot of people aren't prepared for that. You know, it's kind of hard thinking about it. You know, like, because it's honestly, it's not a fair situation. It's not a fair, you know, it's not fair to the person with a mental disorder, because actually, you know. And I was talking, my brother and his girlfriend were talking about, and they were saying, oh, she knows what she's doing, you know. I know she knows what she's doing, but it's like, you know. And I made a video, you know, I made a video, I don't know if I have published it yet or not, but I made a video where I said, like, where I talked about suicidal versus a family, you know. Suicidal, you know, like, let's say you have a brother and sister. What if one person has a mental disorder and what if doesn't? Do they know how each of them works? Like, no, because, you know, if you have a brother or sister and they don't have a mental disorder, they don't know how it feels, you know. So that's the same situation where my brother and his girlfriend don't understand what it's a mental disorder, mental illness, because they don't have it, you know. They would never understand it. They don't know what people go through, you know what I mean? A lot of people don't understand this because they don't have it, you know. But once you have it, you're in hell, you know what I mean? So they were saying like, oh, she fakes it most of the time, but it's like, you know, they don't understand this. They think that she's faking. It's like, why would she fake it? You know what I mean? She's this skinny. You think people want to fake this? You think people want to live like this? No, they don't. You know what I mean? It's like, get it through your head. You know, it's like, my brother, you know, even though my brother killed himself, my brother and his girlfriend don't really understand the true meaning of what a mental illness is and what a crisis is, you know. they don't understand that my cousin needs to be locked up. You know, it's like I said, the problem is with mental disorders, like, you know, they don't get a fair trial, they don't get a fairness. You know, it's like, because, you know, sometimes, like, if you take them to the police, you know, they're probably gonna let them go. You know what I mean? They're like, oh no, every time she goes to jail, they let her go. It's like, whoa. And you know, if they let her go, she's probably gonna get ran over by a car, because she doesn't know where she's going, she doesn't know what she's doing. So we'd rather just keep her in the house locked up. That's what my aunt told me. I was like, okay, you know, you got a point there. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, it's kind of hard to balance it out. You know, it's like, yeah, let's call the cops, but guess what? They're probably gonna let her go, and she's gonna get killed. So it's like, we should just. So I think they're stuck in this perspective where it's like, you know, we have to keep her in the house. We have to do something. We'll have to do something, but mostly keep her in the house and tie her up. You know, there's really no other options. You know, because they're scared that there's something's wrong is gonna go there. And I don't think they understand the mental health system that well. And honestly, I don't even understand the mental health system thinking about it. You know, I was Googling, like, what can I do? You know what I mean? It's like, what can I do? You know what I mean? You know, because it's like, okay, she's having a crisis right now and she needs help. Her parents are abusing her because, you know, tying her up like that is causing her traumatic stress. So her parents are abusing her, you know, whether whether they see it or not, that's abuse. That's like child slash mental abuse of a abuse of a mental illness person, you know, because they're abusing them, they're traumatizing them, they're having a mental illness, they're not getting them help. And since my cousin was in a psychiatric ward and they took responsibility of taking care of her, that's 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 more of them getting into more trouble, because, you know, they already took her out of the psychiatric ward like a year ago, and now she's having this and they're tying her up. That's like a risky situation. So honestly, I don't want to get involved with it, if y'all know what I mean. And it's like, no, I don't want to get involved with it. I don't want to do anything with it. And I was like, I was just looking at safe ways to do it. You know, I don't know what to do either. You know, I was looking at safe ways to do it. You know, to like, how do I do this? You know, I don't want to call the police, because, you know, that's a dangerous situation, calling the police. And, you know, they might hurt her, you know, even more than she's already hurt. She might get stressed out. So, like, the police should not be an option. You know, it's like, no, you know, the hospital is not an option, because they might let her go out. You know, I went to the hospital and they let me out like that. You know, they'll let you out like that. You know, they don't care if you have a mental disorder, they'll let you out. That's how fucked up it is. You know what I mean? So, you know, I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. I googled it. I tried to Google it. You know, getting help for a person with a mental disorder, it's really hard. You know, it's just so confusing. It's so complicated. We don't get educated on this. You know what I mean? I didn't even know how to help my brother. You know, I didn't even know how to help my little brother. You know, I tried telling my parents, take him to therapy. You know, but who knows how you deal with this? I guess, you know, people with mental disorder are just not meant to live. You know, I don't know. I don't know if people with mental disorders are not meant to live in this world. You know, I don't understand. You know, I don't understand why this happens. You know, just I don't. So, you know, I might make an update video. You know, I'm kind of scared to help my cousin. You know, I'm kind of scared to say this or that. You know, I'm kind of scared. You know, because I don't know. I don't want to get involved in it, because it's like my aunt and her uncle. You know, like, if I bring the police over, you know, they might want to kick me out. They might not want me to go visit them anymore. We might have family problems. It's like, you did this to us. You know, it's like kind of scary for me too. You know, it's like, because you're getting in family business, and honestly, like, what do you do? You know, how do you balance it out? Like, she needs help. She needs to be in a psychiatric ward. She doesn't like being in a psychiatric ward. She tells me that she didn't like it there. She was like, she didn't like it there. She felt like she was gonna be abused and stuff. So I was like, you know what I mean? And I know how she feels. So it's like, you know, for me, it's like, I don't think I would want her to stay at a psychiatric ward either. So it's very complicated. You know what I mean? Anyways, so hopefully I figure this out, and hopefully I update this video. Hopefully everything turns out well. And I don't know. Like, I might call a hotline. You know. She doesn't live in LA. They don't live in LA County, so I don't know really how that works, you know. But I'm trying to call, like, the hotlines in LA County and see what I could do, you know. But there's so many stuff, you know. It's like calling and getting your story straight. You know what I mean? I can call and say, oh hey, like my cousin needs help. Her parents are tying her up. You know, she has a lot of marks on her. You know, and next thing you know, they go and they see a lot of marks on her, and she's like, my parents are abusing me. They don't feed me. You know, the parents are gonna get in trouble. Why do I want to cause all these problems? You know, it's so complicated. Shit, it's so complicated. I don't know. I will figure it out. Hopefully this week, you know. I'm gonna go visit my cousins again because my cousin wanted a phone, so I'm gonna order a phone and I'm to take it to them and stuff. So I'm gonna have to do that, and I'm gonna have to visit. Well, my aunt. I have to get my aunt a phone, and I have to visit my other cousin because she had a baby, but we didn't go visit her because, you know, we couldn't really go visit her, you know, because of all these problems, and they couldn't leave my cousin alone. So that's the problem. That's why we didn't go. Anyways, we just end up leaving, and yeah, hopefully, you know, hopefully my cousin's still doing well, you know. Yeah, so I don't know, it's so stressful dealing with this. It's so stressful. So that's it. I don't know what to do. So I don't know. Hopefully everything goes well. But if anybody has any advice or what I could do, please message me privately, because I don't know what to do and they don't know what to do. Honestly, you know, parents don't always make the right decisions, because, like, think about it. You know, my brother killed himself, yet she could have taken the responsibility of, you know, making him go to therapy, locking him up in a psychiatric ward. Yes, she didn't do that. She didn't know. So maybe that's, you know, I kind of feel like maybe that's what I should do. I don't know. I feel like I should just, like, call the police and make them take her away, or just, like, take her to psychiatric ward with my aunt, and they take care of her right there. Like, going to a psychiatrist, because once you go to the mental, like, if you go to mental health services and they know the person is crazy, they'll lock them up. And, you know, they're fully secure there, because, you know, it's different between, you know, there's a big difference between police and mental clinics, mental centers, because the difference between the police and the mental health centers is the police have no responsibility. If they die, it's like, okay, you know, to sue is hard, versus a mental clinic. You could sue, you know, you could hold them responsible for what they do wrong. You know, they could be trained, you know, and you could sue them, you know, because they're not doing their job right. So it's very complicated. But yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna tell my aunt. We need to take her to a psychiatric ward. No, not to the psychiatric ward. We need to take her to a mental health clinic, and from there, we take care of her. We take her back to the house. You know, we really take care of her. And if she has a crisis in there, then they take her to the hospital, and we follow. You know, we follow her to the hospital. You know, we see her, we visit her constantly, and hopefully they help her at the hospital. Hopefully, you know, we could look after her. You know, hopefully, you know, it's too much, you know. I don't know. I guess people need. Yeah, I don't know. For anyone that has, you know, so if anyone made it to this video, please share this video, I guess. Or I don't know, like, for anyone that has kids, you know, you have to really be careful about your kids, because honestly, it's very hard to have kids. You know, like, to deal with kids like that, especially because it's so complicated. You know what I mean? Especially you don't know if your child is gonna develop a mental disorder, mental illness. You know, you don't know if they're gonna struggle with body image, you know, weight, you know. It's just, everything is so complicated, you know. So take care of your children if you have children, or, you know, someone that has children. You know, share this video, and, like, because all these signs are, you know, a lot of times the signs are silent, or either they're silent, and if they're verbal, but it's just so complicated, you know. Okay, that's everybody. Thanks for watching. This video is 25 minutes already.